everyone, I am Dilusha and you are watching Ambeon Insight. Today we are featuring a pioneering company in the construction industry. This company has positioned itself as the market leader in tile adhesive, tile grout and aluminium. And talk about this company, we have with us today the visionary leader of the company. Let's dive into Swisstek Ceylon PLC. Daminda, welcome to Ambeon Insight.
Thank you for having me.
Daminda, to start off the conversation, tell me a little bit about yourself and we'll start out from there, your journey in the industry and about yourself.
So my professional career started back in 2004. Like many corporate leaders, I had very humble beginnings. I started my professional career back in 2004 in pharmaceuticals, started at GSK. Then I took a shift after 4 years of pharmaceutical experience. I took a shift in the industry and moved to FMCG and joined Unilever. So I spent large amount of my career at Unilever, approximately 12 years within sales and marketing. So during my Unilever career, I was able to work in sales, customer marketing, retail innovations, and brand building. Then in 2009, I moved to Demos. I had a 2-year stint at Demos looking after automobile, spare parts, agriculture, retail. And I moved to the current organization back in 2021 to Swisstek as group head of marketing for Lanka Volatile Group. Then from there on, I took the responsibilities of Chief Operating Officer at Swisstek Ceylon a few years back. And then last year, I got promoted to CEO at Swisstek Ceylon PLC. And with the recent appointment at a group level as the Executive Director and CEO of Swisstek Ceylon PLC.
Wonderful.
That's in very short my career.
Okay, but I think you're very passionate about cricket. You're a cricket player. So any connection with that and your leadership role in the business? How does that
cricket has been in my bloodline since I was very young. Like started playing cricket when I was 9 at school. I studied at Vidyartha College, Candy. So since then to date, I've been in touch with the game and taking part in cricket. So cricket had I think a lot to do with my career, a lot to do with how I was brought up. So, very passionate about cricket and I like the team game. While playing cricket, cricket is the game that I would love to play. At the same time, I love watching rugby and, being a big fan of rugby. And I'm quite a close member of Vidyartha College Rugby Development Group as well. So I do a lot of stuff there. So sports keep me going. So it's something that is in me. And whenever I do anything, whether it's corporate, personal, or social, I actually like to be with teams and that kind of chemistry I really like.
Okay, and I can see that you are a very proud past pupil of Vidyartha College, Candy.
Because I think a lot of things that I learned during my schooling time had helped me to shape my career to make who I am today. Has a lot to do with that. And then I must mention the career at Unilever also shaped me to a great extent. So far journey, little over 20 years experience in corporate has been amazing.
Wonderful. Daminda, let's talk a little bit about Swisstek. Tell me a little bit about the company and its operations.
Okay, so let me start with Swisstek Ceylon PLC's history a little bit. So if you look at our group, Lanka Volatile Group, Swisstek Ceylon is the oldest company within the group, established back in 1967. Our business at the inception was mainly into timber flooring. There's a very interesting story that I would like to mention about Swisstek Ceylon's founder. The intention behind the initiation of this business was very, very humble and very, very inspiring. The founder of this company, Mr. Singha Veerasekara, he actually wanted to provide employment for differently able people around this Belum area. So he had put up this factory to support that community.
I see.
That's the very reason he wanted to start with this, little wooden pieces so that, they can work on. So that shocked that when I heard that. I mean, recently we had a vision revamp when we went into a bit of a deep dive. We found out that the original thought was that. So that was very inspiring. So from 1967 to date, the company has evolved so much. The company got listed in back in 1983 at Colombo Stock Exchange, then became a part of Lanka Voltaire Group back in 2003. Then the acquisition of aluminium business in 2010, and then the name change. Originally, it was Swisstek Ceylon.
Yes.
In 2011, it was renamed as Swisstek Ceylon. So the journey has been quite inspiring, and it has showed so much of diversification, I would say, moving starting from timber and today where we are. So there's so much things that we have done, and it has been a really, really exciting journey as far as the company is concerned.
So at the moment, Swisstek is a pioneer in the construction industry. So what do you think about the overall construction industry of Sri Lanka and in the region? What do you see in that?
Since you spoke of the market leadership, so if you look at the portfolio that we have both in Swisstek Ceylon and our subsidiary Swisstek Aluminium, most of the categories that we operate, we are market leaders. Whether it's tile adhesives, tile grouts, or for that matter, aluminium, we have the market leadership, which is something that that I think we must give credit to my team. Over a period of time, they were able to have that market leadership and most importantly retain that position as a market leader. Then the second question you ask about the industry. If you really look at the local construction industry, since 2019, with this Easter Sunday attack, there's been a dip. If you look at last 10 years growth, you see the trend line is going downwards. So there has been lots of challenges in construction industry. It was actually getting contracted. But in the recent, I would say last year, we have seen some signs of recovery. But it's very
globally or locally?
Locally, it's like that.
Okay.
But global context is slightly different. But if you look at this year with so much things happening around the world, with bigger players of the economies, fighting with each other, cool battles and hard battles. Global economy is also not growing at a pace which is very supportive. I think mid-June, the global GDP growth was around mid 2%, which is not very, very healthy, I would say. But local context, we have seen some level of recovery, but it's very early to tell whether it's recovering and coming back to what it used to be. But we are very positive about the change because with the recent interest rates coming down, exchange rate settling at a certain level is actually helping. But like I said, if you look at last 10 years from 2019 where we had this downturn, still it's very early days to tell you whether it's going to grow like exponentially, but we see a slight recovery.
Okay. So since you touched upon about a few economic factors, what are the macroeconomic factors which has a bigger impact to your business?
As far as local market is concerned, construction industry always, when it comes to construction industry, interest rates, consumer confidence, and when in construction industry picks up when consumers have enough disposals to spend. Like if you look at the audiences who are getting into construction, the executives and at a mid and upper level, when they have higher disposals, they tend to build new houses, new constructions, and with that, construction industry picks up. On the other side, there is another segment. If you look at our business, even the adults, like 50 plus, who has excess money, who wants to invest in their kids houses, apartments, they are the ones who are actually contributing to the domestic market, leaving aside large scale projects. Now, if you look at last couple of years, the skilled workforce has been migrating. They were planning to migrate, if not migrated. So they have actually moved away from building and renovating houses. So that has actually impacted last couple of years not to have a growth. On the other side, if you look at the other audience, which we deal with when it comes to domestic market, the elderly parents or the affluent audience who would like to invest to improve their children's houses and renovations. But they used to tell when we spoke to them, they say, our kids are trying to migrate, and what we have here is good enough for us. So there has been a little bit of a pause in renovations and new constructions. I think domestic market that has impacted a lot, but economy is slightly getting better. Now there is a little bit of a momentum, and people who have actually moved out of the country also started earning, and I think some are reconsidering, constructing, renovating their spaces and investing in properties. So that is also happening, and foreign remittance also slightly improving. Tourism is rebounding. With that, the all due renovations in hotels and resorts are picking up. With that, like I said, we see a small pickup. But when it comes to our categories, we are at the end of the construction business. We are into fixing, finishing, and augmenting the aesthetic appearance of the construction sector. So my guess is, if there is a growth, we will be the last to receive the benefits, considering the categories that we operate. Like I said, there is a growth, but it's very early to tell whether this is going to grow like exponentially, because we have been having a flat and declining trend over last 10 years.
Correct. And also, Daminda, now when you look at the product portfolio that you have, how do you differentiate it among the other players locally and regionally?
So when it comes to, let me first talk about the local market. That is our bread and butter. So when it comes to our portfolio, whether it's tile complementary Swisstek Ceylon range or aluminium range, when it comes to our differentiation, we look at both functional and emotional benefits of it, right? So our brand promise is a perfect finish. So around that, when it comes to functional aspect of it, like we want to make sure that the products that we market are at, at the best quality, whether it's international standards meeting any local standards. We want to make sure that our products are in line with or above the industry norms. So that is from a functional aspect. So any project, if we are to pitch, we know that our products are in line with all the requirements. So that is there on one side from a functional point. Then from an emotional point, the kind of innovations that we bring in, kind of products that we bring in, helps to improve the finishing side of the construction, whether it's a slim aluminium profile or a highly sophisticated epoxy product that fits between your tiles or pool when you're doing a pool. How to bring that aesthetic appeal. All of that is being considered, and we when it comes to our products, we say that if you are to consider, we are the best option out there in the market.
You're the best in the market.
Exactly.
That's the difference. All right. And also, Daminda, that I have seen that the performance, the financial performance of the company, if you consider last year, it was a complete turnaround. From a loss, it was able to book a profit of close to about 1 billion in the last year. So what's the reason behind this turnaround?
So I would like to break it down to two portions. Now, if you look at, like I said, we have two companies at our group level, Swisstek Ceylon PLC and the subsidiary Swisstek Aluminium. If you look at the performance of Swisstek Ceylon over the last 3 years, we have been growing consistently, competitive growth, profitable growth, and we've been able to sustain it to a greater extent. On the other side, if you look at aluminium business, we have been facing multiple challenges with this economic downturn, the exchange rate increases. That has impacted the aluminium business because it's susceptible to world metal prices and then the exchange rate. So the previous years loss was mainly due to those environmental impacts. Having said that, you can't say that just because exchange rates were unpredictable, we made losses. You have to take the responsibility. So the bounce back is mainly on one side. Swisstek Ceylon has been growing consistently. On the other side, Swisstek Aluminium was able to bounce back and was able to deliver a strong growth last year. So that at a group level, as a result, we were able to deliver closer to 1 billion profit, which you have seen in our annual report.
Yes, okay. And in that case, how sustainable that profit margins are going forward?
See, it's a very challenging question now. If I were to answer that, like I said, you have to look at macro environmental factors. Also, like I said, we see a slight pickup in construction industry, and we see stability in exchange rate in the midterm, short term, and midterm, and the interest rates are also coming down. So, if our cost bases are continue to remain at this level, we should be able to maintain what we have been demonstrated last year, provided the macro environmental factors remain not so volatile. Why I say this? Let's say if there is going to be a increase in cost, we have to take two decisions. One is you reflect it on your end price, pass it on to our consumers, or you hold it back and compromise your profitability. My philosophy of working is, when you have to have like a cost reflective operational model, that if there is a cost increase, of course you have to pass it to the end customer because we have to maintain certain level of profitability. Having said that, one thing that I am very firm about is I do not want our inefficiencies to be passed to our consumers. Inefficiencies is a matter that we need to resolve. The modern consumer doesn't really want to, pay their money for our inefficiencies. So while, looking at macro environmental factors and expecting it to be stable, we of course have internal measures to improve our efficiency levels. So with that, we are hoping to maintain our profitabilities in the range that we have been maintaining. Like I said, it's quite difficult to tell with considering the kind of world that we are living in, but we are quite hopeful.
Okay. And now Swisstek is moving out of Sri Lanka as well. Sri Lanka is not the only market. So what is your roadmap for the expansion in the region?
So let me give you a little bit of a history of why we have looked at exports. Actually, back in, like I said, from 2019, we've been experiencing a decline in the local market. And we were having excess capacity and finding it difficult to manage our operations. So that's the starting point where we looked at export opportunities. It's very challenging. I mean, when you look at export numbers, you may think, okay, they are good. They have gone into markets like USA and even to that matter, even to India. But it's very challenging. But we have to accept the fact that you have to consider everything, local market and global trends, and look at how we are going to grow. We being a very small country, our growth also limits to the size, right? If we are to look at only local. So keeping that in mind only, we are looking at expansions. So right now we are predominantly driving our exports towards USA, but we see a growth in Africa also. So we are having plans to expand our operations to East Africa also, and then possibly in the South Asian market also. So if I were to look at our growth strategy, global expansion is a key strategic pillar.
And also, Daminda, do you consider inorganic growth, like when it comes to acquisitions or backward integrations? Any plans as such that you are looking at when you look at growth?
Let me give you an answer how I look at growth. So when I look at growth, your growth has to be profitable, competitive. Firstly, competitive. You can't be growing below your market growth. So in that sense, you have to make your growth competitive. Then you have to make your growth uh, a profitable one. It can't come at the expense of uh, your profit. Now, when you look at these two, of course, then it has to be consistent. And when you bring growth, it has to be responsible, right? So there are few pillars to our growth philosophy. Now, when you look at that in overall, so we want to consider portfolio expansions. Definitely, that's in our strategy. So whatever relevant categories that we see lucrative, we would want to get into. So in next 2 to 3 years, you will see when there are opportunities to expand by the means of acquisitions, collaborations, anything in that sort will come to reality. So it's something that we keep in mind when it comes to our growth strategy.
Daminda, in short term, what are your growth strategies? If we look at the next 24 months, how would you expect?
If I were to look at, say, going beyond a little bit, 24 months, 3 years,
Okay.
I would like to look at my growth strategy in main three pillars. Number one would be geographical channel expansion and collaboration. That's going to be number one with our existing portfolio. Number two, bringing innovations with portfolio expansions. And the third one would be continuous improvement. And of course, one might ask, why do you want to keep continuous improvement as a strategic pillar rather than an enabler? Because the world is moving at a very rapid pace when it comes to changes. So with that, I would like to consider continuous improvement as a strategic pillar because the world is moving very fast. So there is very little time for us to stay still. So continuous improvement is a key area that will help us to optimize our costings and stay relevant to our consumers. When I look at consumers, I want to look at consumers bandwidth where people now, if you look at consumers, they'll from my price point, there'll be a set who will say we are a little expensive, but they still buy. There's another set who will say okay, they're quite affordable in two extreme ends. So I want to maneuver in the right middle point so that I capture both sides of the segments. So it's a very tricky thing to do. Like, pricing is a very tricky thing. So how I want to look at it through continuous improvements, bring all those efficiency improvements, cost improvements, so that I stay relevant to both sides and operate at the best possible profit levels.
To achieve those targets, what are the risk factors you see in the short to medium term?
See, let me put it in this way. Now, we spoke about cricket earlier, being a great passion in me and many people. See, when we play cricket, when you cross the line, you're not you. There are certain things that you can't change, uncontrollable. The size of the boundary, whether the wicket, certain decisions. Of course, you have the luxury at international level to review it. So, how I want to look at it is like there's very little that we can do over macroeconomic environments or the macro factors. So I believe that we should look at what we can control from internally within our control. So I want to look at things that I can control, we can control as a team, and drive growth. At the same time, keep our eyes and ears open what is happening out there in the macro environment and take measures so that you have minimal impact on your business and on your growth with the changes in macro environment.
Great. So finally, I mean, as the leader or the CEO of the company, what is your vision for Swisstek and what do you envision for it to become?
So, like I said, our brand promise is a perfect finish. So, our vision at Swisstek is to be the leading manufacturer in construction industry, not just with products but also with services in the time to come. So that's my vision, not locally alone, not locally, but in the region as well.
What is your final message to the shareholders of the company? Where would you see the value going for them?
See, my message to our shareholders is, as a group, as a company, as a team, we would take every single measure to drive growth. Keeping in mind the environmental changes, the macro factor changes, and we will, as the leader of Swisstek, I would like to navigate this company through those and do the utmost best for the company. Like I said, it's very difficult thing to predict future in this VUCA world. But my message to shareholders is that we as a team will take every single step to ensure that we are keeping our market leadership for next years to come.
That's very encouraging. Thank you, Daminda, for joining with us. Thank you very much.